The left knows the culture is everything we don't. The other day, it was actually yesterday as I'm talking, Trump made what I consider a huge error. He said he might vote in Florida to allow abortion after 6 weeks, ruining the good work done there by DeSantis. And he said his government, when he's elected, would pay for in vitro fertilization, which many people object to because, of course, it destroys embryos. It destroys actual human beings. And, my reaction to that was a lot of women, Tim Walz is allowed to talk about the pain of his wife's infertility, but a lot of women have suffered through infertility not using IVF because of the way it uses too many embryos, although you can do it without doing that. And some people have suffered through that and actually come through the other end. And there's no reason they should be made to pay for other people's IVF. Now, the thing with Trump is he's flailing around on this. There's just no question about it, because we have failed to build a culture of life. Trump succeeded where no one else could have in overturning Roe v. Wade. Nobody else wanted to catch that car. Trump was the only dog who was willing to catch that car, and he caught it. And now he doesn't know what to do, because Trump is a guy who, A, he's a New Yorker, and Ted Cruz was right about him. He has New York values. And B, he loves to be loved and he loves to win, and that requires doing what people want him to do. It's one of the reasons he's always too slow to condemn the extremists who support him. He'll condemn them eventually, but he always stops for a minute because he doesn't want to alienate people who support him. And in this case, he's trying to win back the women who are the main strength of the Democrats. And I think he's making a mistake. I think he did the right thing when he said it's going to be a state issue. But what we have to look at is our failure to A, create that culture of life, and B, get to work creating it now. We're looking to our politicians to do what they simply cannot do and win. Trump cannot be against abortion and win now that Roe v. Wade is gone. And we just have to understand that about him and start to make a world in which he can be against it and win. The left knows the culture is everything we don't. They know that defining the rules, what I was talking about in the beginning, defining the problem, is the solution for you. Once you define it, civil rights or feminism or environmentalism, as a left-wing problem, and with a left-wing solution, it is very, very hard to speak against it, because it sounds like you're speaking against the environment. It sounds like you're speaking against civil rights. It sounds like you're speaking against the freedom for women, when what you're really speaking against is the socialism that is buried in those clothes. So there's a movie coming out, finally. It's been 100 years they've been making this movie of Ronald Reagan. I actually stopped promoting it because I just thought, you're never going to make it. This is with Dennis Quaid. Let's take a look at the trailer for Reagan, which opens today. It opens this Friday.
There's nothing a retired governor can do about the Soviets, but a president, now he can do a thing or two.
Welcome to your life.
I was a lifeguard on a river.
There's no turning back.
And I learned how to read the currents. Not just the ones on the surface, but also the ones deep underneath the water.
I am about to start the biggest war of this century, and I'm not going to fire a single shot.
You're going to blow up 8 years of diplomacy.
Well, if you think that got their undies in a wad, you just wait.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Wants to rule the world.
So I haven't seen it. It looks good. I hope people turn up for it. It's been a long time in the making. But if you don't think the left cares about the culture, they have gone to great lengths to demonize and polarize people against the people who are in this. My friend Nick Searcy, who I work with on Gosnell, he's in it. There was a premiere this week, and Christian Toto at Hollywood and Toto, who really covers these things well, he wrote about how the Hollywood Reporter covered the premiere. Listen to this. Reagan actor Jon Voight, a staunch supporter of President Donald Trump, wore a silk tie that featured text from the Pledge of Allegiance. Conservative actor Nick Searcy, who participated in the January 6th insurrection and has been one of Trump's most outspoken supporters, strolled the red carpet to chat up his role in Reagan. One of the reporters on the press line hailed from a Christian media company. I don't know how he got in, but that's terrible that there should be somebody from a Christian media company. Now, I'm sure you understand that when Robert De Niro shows up at a premiere for his movie, nobody gets to hear about what he said about Donald Trump. Nobody hears about the politics of the actors who are in every other movie. only in this movie. They mean to demonize this. The Facebook would not run ads for it, wouldn't let them publicize this. Dennis Quaid talked about this. Dennis Quaid does a good Reagan, by the way, but they kept taking it down, saying the content in the post was an attempt to sway an election. So they know exactly what is at stake. And this is the thing that we're facing. And so a lot of people write to me all the time. Can you get me into the Daily Wire? Can you tell the Daily Wire I have a script? Can you read my script? Can you do this? Can you do that? Can you help me with this? Let me tell you something. There's a movie out, another movie out, besides Reagan, called Milk and Cereal. And I don't know the politics of the people who did it at all. I have no idea. But I'm just going to assume they're on the left. There's a guy named Curry Barker was the main person behind it. It cost him $800 to make. You did not hear that wrong. $800. He put it up on YouTube. It has almost 500,000 views. I watched it last night to see how it is. It is they call it a horror movie. I guess it's kind of a horror movie, a crime movie, whatever you want to call it. It's a found footage film. He made the money back, the $800 he spent on it. He made it back by selling the camera for $900. It's obviously filmed with his friends. He didn't play them, but the acting is good. Here's a scene. It's about these pranksters. They have a prank site and the pranks start to get out of hand. You can imagine what happens. Here's a scene. This is cut 12.
All we got's a tarp. What do you want to do? I don't know, Milk. What do you want to do? I say we put him in the tarp and we bury him here and we leave him. We gotta leave him here. Okay. How do you want to do that? We get the shovels. We dig a hole as deep as we can.
What shovels? You got a shovel?
No. We should go. We put his body on the tarp. We put him in the trunk. We take him with us. We go get some shovels, and then we come back.
Take him with us into town?
Well, what
Where
do you
maybe
want to
cops can
do,
find the
Seven?
people? I don't know. I've never killed a guy in the desert.
20 years ago, I told people that this is where the movies were going to get made online. And I said, start making them. Stop complaining. Stop writing to me. Stop begging for help. You got $800. Go find $800 and make a movie. If you're as talented as these guys are, because the acting is good, the writing is good. You could hear some of that as ad-libbed. The story is good. The story is absolutely good. I'm not going to tell you this is the greatest movie ever made or anything, or that it can compete with the production values of a Hollywood film. It's incredibly watchable. It's 62 minutes long. It is exactly the right amount of time. The future is being built now. See, I don't want people to come back to me in 15 years when I'm like Joe Biden and I don't even know who I am and tell me, you were right, we should have done that. Do it now. The future is going to be these masks that people wear, these oculuses or oculi that people wear, where the story just completely surrounds them. They're going to be made by individuals. They're going to be made with AI. They're going to be made with actors using voice machines to make that so they can play the women and the men. Do it now. Start doing it. Don't let Mark Zuckerberg be in control of Meta, this three-dimensional world. We should all have a piece of this thing. We should all be doing this. And the guys like Peter Thiel, the billionaires, and Elon Musk, this is the stuff they should be paying attention to. Great that we should send rockets to Mars, but we need to send information and feeling and emotion into the world so that the new generation can understand what we were taught in school, that this country was meant to be free. We weren't meant to solve our problems by passing laws. We were meant to solve our problems by the way we behaved, the churches we went to, the morals we represented, and the ethics we believed in. This is what we're meant to do. Those are cultural things. Those are formed over slow time by the arts and by people who speak to the emotions of the people. We've got to be doing it. We have failed, and we've got to admit our failure, move on, and learn to beat the system. For more Klavan-y magnificence, like and subscribe, and do not forget to subscribe to The Andrew Klavan Show wherever you get your podcasts.